what I fancy doing was possibly some Japanese store-style book nooks, which admittedly is an odd thing for a book. I just really like this aesthetic. Now, I'm not going to go into like in-depth tutorials on the software. Firstly, I'm not an expert. I'm completely self-taught. There will be legitimate 3D modelers who will look at the way I work and potentially go, this is a war crime against 3D modeling. Shape. Now, we can start with a standard size. So if we think, what do we think for width? 140, right? 140 millimeters by 200 tall. Do we think that looks like a standard? Yeah. So let's get the basic boxing out. Now, with plasticity, as you can see, it's just drawing sketches effectively, and then extruding and cutting and insetting, and it's quick, very quick. So I'll go for a little cut here to give us two separate parts. I hate X-ray mode unless it's actually needed, but as a default, no thanks. Right, let's get some sort of like middle section going. So all I'm doing here is drawing a line and then using the cut command to cut it out. So we're effectively now got 3 blocks, and you can see up here these are all the solids in the middle. Right, so if we consider that as the aspect, the like divider for the bottom and then the top. So if we get in a basic dimension for a door, so we can just think about the scale of everything else. So you can press V to change the origin point, so you can essentially set it as the point you're moving from, and then when you hold control, you snap it to various things. So I set it to the bottom there and snapped it down. So do we think this looks all right for a door dimension? Yeah, that looks about all right. So let's do Shift I and imprint that curve into the bottom body. Now, when I get rid of this, we'll see some vertexes have been set there, which means that we can now treat that as a different face. So I can extrude it out 5 millimeters. Right, now it's like a little door sticking out. So now, another one of my favorite commands is the IsoParam, which is on Control R, and it basically just lets you draw in new edges, which can get pretty powerful pretty quickly. So let's put an edge there, and then actually what I'll do is, because we've now got an edge there, it separates this face from this face, I will click that one and do offset. And now what we can do is we can actually I don't want to do that because I don't want it to be perfect square. But what we could have done there is offset it to get a perfect square in the middle. But I don't think I want a perfect square for the window. Which I think what it is, I want this further down, because ultimately we've given ourselves a perfect square at the top there, haven't we? And I just feel like the door shouldn't have a perfect square window. It's a bit weird. So let's actually now try and offset. So offset. Yeah, cool. Right. Let's insert that a little bit. Now, should have actually waited for it to compute before I hit the confirm. So this is when I talk about how designing things in 3D and then designing things in 3D for 3D print are two different things. You've just constantly got to be thinking about overhangs. So say if this was to print as a standard, if you just print it as a block, right, well, this overhang is a disaster. But it's not a disaster because it could bridge across there, but it's tricky. So there's things like putting in fillets like that, but that's actually, I've just glossed over that, but that is one of the most powerful things in plasticity, is it's filleting and it's chamfering engine. You're just selecting an edge and dragging it, and it is so quick to go from raw block out models to refining them. I think what I'll do is I'll just limit that there for now, and we'll put in, I'm just selecting the face and pressing space to change the reference plane to it, so I'm looking straight onto it. I'm going to take the IsoParam again. I'm just going to select the face, and then I'm just going to make sure I'm at that same dimension there. Do the same again. Right, and then I think what we'll do is we'll just add a little square at the bottom, like you sometimes have a panel on a door. There we go, cool. Now, again, rough as houses, but rough as a Japanese house. Well, a Japanese, effectively corner shop. That's what I'm going for anyway, that's the aim. The only thing I'd say with this design I've kind of knocked off in my head is I feel like I don't have any vintage, classic Japanese tiles. It almost doesn't look very Japanese. So that's something I might end up at some point bringing in sloped roof with a more classic, like peaked, tiled with wood beam across the middle roof. We'll see. We'll see. We'll get there. I mean, I probably won't finish this today on this stream, but as I say, 3 times a week. So yeah, we should be able to finish it together. Right. So let's just treat that as a rough block out for the door. Now, I think what I would like to do is get an awning in here just so I can get an idea of scale. So I'm going to set the side as the reference plane so we can have a look at this here. Now, let's have the awning. Do we want the awning coming down? Oh, to be fair, it could come down over the door. It just makes it more difficult to fix it later. But I'm going to get myself out of this idea of thinking about it for 3D printing. And for this design anyway, I'm going to design it. And if I need to retrofit it for 3D printing, I'll just basically do that in my downtime. So that gives us a basic awning shape. Now, awnings sometimes have a little bit of a bit that hangs down. So just add an IsoParam, and I want to extrude it, not push, because push will continue slope of the top, whereas extrude is taking the face and directly extruding it down. All right. So that looks good. We'll add a little, don't add the bevel now, or fillet, sorry. Yeah, let's add it now. Now, let's add a little bit of detail to the top of the awning. So I'll do an IsoParam, and then if you hold shift and twist the mouse button, you can effectively multiply how many you're dividing the face by. So let's do that, and then what we can do is we can select all of these edges. This might not be the best way to do this, but works for me. And then if we add, let's get this sketchy because I don't need that. Select these 2 faces, and yeah, a little fillet to the edge. I think what I might actually do is isolate this, select the face. I'm going to just put a little mini fillet on them. Yeah, right. So what should we do? Should we make a little vending machine to go in here? Yeah, let's do that. So let's select that face. So we're working on it now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to not have it the same size. I think I might make this its own entity rather than it being part of the main body, because ultimately that just means that a user can print it off separately, and that if they don't have a multi-material system, they can effectively go, right, I'm going to print this in a different colour. And it means you can take advantage of the fact that you might have different filaments, but you might not have, an expensive 3D printer, or just you might not have an AMS system for multi-material. So where possible on our design stuff, I do try to assume people don't have AMS, but it's not always possible. So what I might do, I might just have a little look for some reference for some like vending machines, because my drawing is, well, I mean, let's be frank here, I'm not getting a huge amount of inspiration out of that level of incredible detail, the kind of detail that Van Gogh would be jealous. Right, let's have a look here. So, interestingly, quite a lot of these Japanese vending machines seem to be quite... Now, I can only speak being a Brit. I can really speak the type of vending machine I have here, and these all seem quite wide. Now, that's not how I've done it on my doodle, so I think what I'll do is I will actually make it wide, square at the top, with some clear shelving, letterbox. Yeah, they're all actually quite... What's this type? This is like hot meals. Kick 'em, man. That too makes the soy sauce. This is the problem with Google image searches, is I end up just going down these like absolute rabbit holes. So yes, we're all very interested to know what the mini burger vending machine is, but I'm here for a purpose. Also, I'm a bit of a aficionado of random weird drinks whenever I travel anywhere, so all of this is deeply appealing. But let's just stick to this image here. So I'm just going to save this. It's a web page, so I probably won't be able to use it in Plasticity. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can import it. No, that's fine. It's not exactly rocket science. Also, I can keep jumping to it on my monitor here. You won't see it because it's not in the scene. But so anyway, this here, let's just accept this is wrong. I'm going to move it across here just so we've got a bit more space. And this is where you see how good plasticity is. It's just like, yeah, right, okay, we'll just drag this out. It's actually a little bit like Tinkercad. Not that I ever particularly used Tinkercad because at that point I was deep in my, if you can't add dimensions to sketches, what's the point of it mindset, which is wrong. Everything has its place. So, right, let's treat this. I think those dimensions look about right. Let's do a divider line here because if I remember correctly, it wasn't exactly at halfway. We'll do a little offset. We'll drag it in. Oh, right. And now what we can do is we can snap to that. Let's pick that as the reference. We've got 3 shelves. So let's put a shelf there, a shelf there, and a shelf there. Let's drag them out so they are not protruding too much for a 3D print. Should maybe do that more. Actually, they're a little bit chunky, aren't they? So what we do is grab these 3 faces together and drag them. Plasticity is so cool. Right. So that gives us the basic window. Yeah, I made a mistake because when you look at the reference I was looking at, it's actually not a perfect square. There's a little panel here, although these ones don't have that. So no, we'll just keep the window the way it was and put the like coin panel like down here. So let's just draw, it looks like an arc, wasn't it? Like the coin panel. So if we bring the coin panel down to there, and then I think if we do not a tangent arc, just do a 3-point circle. Yeah, let's go for something like that. Trim off the edges, and then we can get our trim modes, join those lines together, imprint them on here. Yeah, and then we get a little face. We have to get our temporary plane first, extrude and have it remove from the other one. Right, so we get that there. Now let me have another look at my reference. Right, I need a big letterbox for your tasty snacks to drop out of. Let's just put that here. I'm going to actually add a little bevel. And we'll insert. I can't believe how much I'm using IsoParam and like imprinting the curves. I feel like I don't use it that often, but I'm using it all the time. I'm just going to add a little chamfer there now, just because it will need it later. Right. Let me have a look at the reference. Yeah, I need some like little squares and stuff in here for indicating like your coins dropping out and stuff. Let's use that same shape. That's another good thing with plasticity. You can just nick geometry and shapes and move them around and reuse them. So let's set the point, the edge, and then move it on the X-plane and hold Control and select that edge so it's aligned. Wicked. Coin returner. Let's bring this out, and that's where your coins go. Add some fillet edges. Oh, something weird going on with the curve there. You see that? How it snaps. It's fun. And you see here, this is how like you end up building up these little micro details that if you're having to draw a sketch for every single thing like that in something like Fusion, you'd be there all day together, because for some reason they would. I think what I might do here is I might make a little bit that like hangs out to make it look like a little trough that your money would spit out, your change would spit out of. So I'll divide this across the middle, I'll divide that and that and mirror it, and it'll use this as the central point for the mirror. So basically what I've got here now is perfectly proportioned between the two sides, rather than me having to manually select the face, rotate it, change the pivot point to there, and this worked. There we go. We can just tilt that out, and then we can grab this and do a little insert. It just, hints at spit and change out. Fillet. Cool. This is exactly what happens every time I model, by the way. I've gone from I'm designing a corner shop to I've spent 10 minutes micro designing the coin distribution and change spitting out system, which it's just as well plasticity's quick because I make it work. Let's put some little fillets on here so these edges have got some for overhangs later. Right, let's have another look at the reference and see if there's anything that stands out. I like this deal here. This line and then this little insert, like, looks like it's probably that they come on like their own little unit, but whatever. We don't need to know what it does. We just need to think it looks good. So let's cut that there. Let's give us a separate piece. And then I'll think this, mirror that across. join these two parts together. Add a little bevel. It's not a bevel, that's not a fillet, it's a shunt. There we go. Another cool thing we can do is, because now we have two edges here. If you select those edges, I think that one too, and you do say I get this, like, you're effectively adding it to both sides of the cup, which just gives you some, like, nice surface like detail. See what happens if we, there we go. Now just join these back together, because we don't need them to be separate parts. It just added a little bit of detail. I want to do this, so this is where the food spits out, or the drinks. Maybe look at the reference again. I think I might just leave it. I might be overcomplicating the detail required. At the end of the day, it's a 0.4 meter nozzle, little 0.4 millimeter nozzle, so it's not gonna pick up every single fine little bit of detail. Might actually, let's try bring that line along there. So if we pick this as the reference plane, and then we cut that, cool. So now if I select those two, there we go. I did the other side as well because it saw through the piece. Right, let me just save this just in case we get any crashes. 3D printing folder, which is gigantic, and let's just call it corner ship. Right, cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just add some little fillets and the like, just try and, let's leave it like that. To try and, as I say, just make it more readable when you've not got, like, edges, which is obviously how things look when they're printed. Rejoin those. Right. I feel like this space here is weirdly empty. I feel like there would be a notice that would say, if your food gets stuck, tough titty, you're going to be ringing this premium rate phone number for 3 hours. So we could just give some sort of indication of that. Imprint. I don't know how this turned into modelling a vending machine stream, but it did. I think just to make that read as if it's like a panel, I'll put some little like bolts in the corners. So let's just say that's the corner, eh? Put it there, and then select those two. We can mirror them down. Get rid of the curves. I'm not one for keeping curves. Some people really keep everything, but I find that, if I wanted that curve again, I can just press on the geometry and do Shift D and it duplicates it as a curve. So you find yourself stealing a lot of curves back from stuff you've already designed. And it just keeps everything much neater because curves get crazy if you're keeping them all. Right, select the faces. Yeah, definitely should have just designed this bolt once and then mirrored it. That in a second. Just add a wee chamfer. There we go. Just reads as a panel now. You can imagine the guy coming and unscrewing that to either A, fix it, or B, take the passive earnings that he's read about on Instagram for 3 years and that he thinks is now going to make him a millionaire. So, right. I'm not going to say that vending machine's finished, but I am going to say I should move on.